if it was the statistic was 50% men, 50% women homeless, would you guys be happy with that? No, you probably want the men lower and then the women higher.
I don't want anybody homeless.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
it just feels like.
Yeah.
But homelessness is there by their choice. There's like jobs, literally. There's homeless people. Like, what do you mean? Like, it's like
Homeless-
I think men be like fucking be a man and go get a job. Like, what the freak?
Actually, if you have
men are homeless, but why the hell are they sitting on their ass holding a sign?
Yo, put a
Anything
big
helps.
fat
Like,
L in the chat for Dark.
If you have certain,
I'm just saying,
Big
bro.
fat
You
L in the
literally,
chat.
I feel like homelessness is different too because
Wait,
I
so
think
if a woman's homeless, it's also her choice?
Yes, no, it's literally any homeless person, bro. They literally chose that lifestyle. Like, we just saw a homeless person at a gas station. I laughed at them. Like, get up, bro. You're sitting in front of a gas station that has a hired sign in the window. Homelessness is
you
their
understand
choice.
that if there are certain societal
She did point
conditions,
them out.
there is going to be homelessness.
That's
like if
not
you have a
wrong.
certain unemployment rate, and if you have these mental health epidemics that you're having in the United States, where there's so much prescription drugs everywhere, and if you close down all of your mental institutions, like they've done in California, which is just an absolute shithole, by the way, then you're going to have a bunch of homelessness. So there's conditions that actually.
But how do you get out of homelessness? Like, I don't know why we're talking about homelessness.
Well, it depends
We're
what
making
you're
an
talking
example.
about.
I don't know why we're
If you're talking
talking
about a 60-year-old war veteran who's schizophrenic and literally can't get hired anywhere, and then they're just on the street, then no, unfortunately.
Okay,
that
like I
person can't
said,
do
they
that.
chose that lifestyle.
They chose to be
people
schizophrenic?
struggle with schizophrenia all the time and still have a manageable jobs and still have a good
So
lifestyle.
just to be clear, you're saying that they chose to be schizophrenic?
They chose to be homeless and not to do anything about it.
So if someone has such a severe case of schizophrenia that they cannot get a job, because in order to have a job you have to be somewhat functional at least, you're saying that they still chose that? Because there are people who have, like, PTSD is a very serious thing, and there are people who have very, very serious forms of PTSD who are homeless on the street. There's probably 100,000 of them in California, in LA alone. These people have very, very serious conditions, and they get no help from their government that they went to war to try and defend their country from. And you're saying that you laugh at these people and say, "Get up, bro."
It's like make your life. You have every option to make your life better, bro.
yeah, and
Look,
talking about
Like, you
privilege.
cannot say I'm wrong. Brian, you cannot sit there and say I'm wrong about that.
No, we can.
hold on.
a lot of the
So hold on,
homelessness
look.
in LA, spiked when Ronald Reagan was the president. Because
I don't
he
know
shut
about
down-
no president
Well, he
shit,
shut
bro.
down so many mental institutions and programs that helped people who needed it, and that's
What do they
where a
result
lot-
to? Instead of literally going somewhere where they can provide help, they resort to taking drugs and make their life a little bit more harder than it has to be. That's how I see homelessness. Like,
I feel
and I
like
don't
for
see why we
men
brought
it's
up homelessness
harder,
when
too.
we're talking about abortions and comparing it to trench foot. Where was that taking a turn?
Homeless people
Yeah,
get trench foot.
It's about negative life outcomes, but I mean, look, to some degree, people have agency over their lives, but typically the circumstances which lead to homelessness, I don't know if it's so much about. I mean, look, people do make choices, and it can lead to certain life outcomes. But a lot of these people, like Jake said, there's it could be PTSD, there could be drug use, there could be mental illnesses that have led them to certain unfavorable life outcomes.
I worked for the Salvation Army for 2 years in a homeless shelter, and there was one lady that I remember that when she was a little kid, her dad locked her in her house for her whole entire life, and then you can imagine all kinds of terrible things to her. And then she got out, and then it was sort of still happening, and then she had a child that was a product of the father and her. And then this child was like seriously deformed, and they were both homeless. And it was like, some people, it's like, yeah, you have agency, and there are a lot of success stories out there, but I mean, some people are just fucked from the get-go.